In this video, we're going to look at how our problem-solving process fits with solving equations. For the first one, we have a car rental agency charges $180 per week plus 25 cents per mile to rent a car. How many miles can you travel in 1 week for $395? Probably outdated too. I think they're a little more expensive now. I just want to point you out to the condensed version of the problem-solving process there. So the first thing would be to figure out what you're trying to find. So you're trying to find out how many miles you can drive for this particular cost. Okay, so you would want to probably label that with a variable. So I'm going to just say let x equal number of miles in 1 week. Okay, so now part B, I'm going to try to make an equation here. So I'm given that they charge $180 per week. That's commonly called a fixed cost, but we could say kind of like the weekly cost. Plus the overall cost per mile times the number of miles. So we have a couple of steps here. So this is what we call the variable cost. So this is our fixed and this is variable. And together that equals the total cost. So before, when we were working with the fractions and decimals worksheets, we just had the end part was what the unknown was, like a total or a number or whatever we had on that, a single thing we were trying to find. But in this case, it falls in the middle here, the number of miles. So we're going to need to solve an equation to do that. You could figure it out in your head, but that's kind of a long way around. Algebra is a really useful tool here. So if I just kind of think about what's happening and I plug my stuff in, translating my words to numbers and symbols, I have my weekly cost, it's 180, plus my cost per mile is the 0.25, times the number of miles is my unknown. I labeled it right there, so I'm going to call that x, equals the total cost that I want to have it come out to is $395. Then I go ahead and solve this. So this would be part C. I'm going to subtract 180 from both sides. So you can pause and go ahead and solve that out real quick. Or you can just do it along with me. So then we would have those go out. So I would have 0.25x equal to 215 on the right hand side there. Then I would divide both sides by 0.25. And again, you can just use a calculator, but just show me what you're typing in here. Okay, so 215 divided by 0.25 would be 860. And does that kind of make sense to the problem? Well, yeah, I think so. We could work it backwards, say 860 times the 25 cents a mile, and then add on our flat rate of 180 for the week, and we do get our 395. So that's a reasonable amount, when you're on vacation or whatever. You're going to drive, could be more miles, and then it would be more cost. So we can just wrap this up with a little sentence here. I could say I could travel 860 miles. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Sentence, it's just you have all the parts there. Okay. Now the next one is more of kind of phrases. It's not really in context of a real life kind of thing. It's just a little generic, but it helps you later when you're trying to put things together just to get used to some of the vocabulary and how it lays out. So 12 plus 4 times the number is 8 times the number. What is the number? So I would say let the number equal, you could say X or N. I'm going to say N because that's pretty typical with these. And then I'm just going to take this phrase and translate it to have my words be symbols. My numbers are already in there. So I would have 12 plus 4 times the number is N, would be equals, and then 8 times the number, remember 8 times N, so I just write 8N. And then go ahead and do your algebra. Just solve it out. So you would have, this would be part C, kind of following along here. 12, this would go out, equals 4N, and then divide both sides by 4. And then we can see that N equals 3. Just write that right here. So for my sentence, I would just say the number is 3. Okay. Now, on the others, you can try this one on your own, number 3 there. And I think number 5 is pretty straightforward for the practice problems. Number 4 is a little tricky, so I'm going to walk you through that one. I'll do it as an example, fully written out as a video in motion, but if you want to pause and try it, go ahead, or any of the parts that I'm doing. So we have the perimeter of a rectangle is 48 inches. The length is 3 more than twice the width. So we really kind of have 2 variables here. So we have to kind of figure some things out and how that works together. Find the dimensions, length and width of this rectangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a diagram. I'm going to put it over here. So I have a perimeter is, remember, equal length plus width plus width. So a shorter way to write that is 2L plus 2W. We'll do more with this later if you haven't seen this too much. Don't worry about it, just getting you used to that format. So we have the length, I'm going to say, is this these 2 sides here, top and bottom. The length equals 3 more than twice the width. So twice width plus 3. So I'm kind of condensing that down. Then the width, I'm just going to write here on the side. That's this panel here. So since these are kind of standard variables, we can just say W equals width, and we're going to say length is L. So I'm going to condense this down. L equals 2W plus 3. And put it in parentheses. And then I can actually take that and I can substitute it in for W here in my formula. So we are trying to find the dimensions. So A would be find length and width. And remember, it's in inches. They're just linear measures, like perimeter. I'm given perimeter as 48, so I can sub that in. So I'm going to write my formula here just so everything's kind of put together where you can see it at once. And then I would have the perimeter is 48, so I'm going to substitute that. And then 2L, L I said is 2W plus 3. So instead of L, I'm going to write 2W plus 3. And that's where this one's a bit tricky. And then W is just W. So this is part of the formula. W is just plain W. So just write that in. Now to solve it, I'm going to need to distribute. 48 equals 4W plus 6, and then bring down the 2W. 48 equals, now I'm going to combine like terms, 6W plus 6. Then I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Get 42 equals 6W. Divide both sides by 6. And I get W equals 7. So I know this part is 7. But I still don't know what the length is. So I can look here. Length is 2W plus 3. So length is 2 times W, which W we found is 7, plus 3. Length is 14 plus 3 equals 17. And so that's my work over here. Then I can answer in a sentence. I can say the dimensions are 7 inches by 17 inches. And there we have it. So try your best with that type. That's a little bit trickier. It'll take some practice. And then I'll try to follow up on some online homework so you can do this for review. And there'll also be some just mixed bunch of problems for review for your midterm on next week, and online and on paper. Have a great day.